Hey guys, I'm Brady and today I'm looking at Uncharted 4 Thief's End, the highly anticipated fourth installment in the popular series exclusive to Sony PlayStation. The story follows Cindy's main protagonist Nathan Drake and his wife Elena as they attempt to settle down into a normal life, away from the action and adventure of treasure hunting. However, it isn't long before Nate's brother Sam shows up with an offer he can't really refuse. For fear of spoiling any details, let's just say the story takes off from there and somewhat forces Nate out of retirement to search for the fabled loot of the pirate Henry Avery. The narrative in Uncharted 4 has a bit of a darker tone and also gives us another look at Nate and how he became the man he is today. This is done by flashing back to some of his earlier memories during the course of the story. Naughty Dog has told the story in an excellent way with an incredible amount of detail. The interactions between characters feel more human than ever before. It also doesn't hurt that the game features some terrific voice acting, which really helps the narrative along rather nicely. The only real complaint I have about the game is the somewhat uneven pacing. While it does fairly well for most of the game, it really starts to slow down towards the end of the game, which is somewhat unfortunate. In terms of gameplay, Uncharted 4 feels very much like its predecessors, but surprisingly is remarkably different in its own right. The gunplay and traversal is brilliant, as it always has been, yet also feels improved. During climbing sections, Nate can reach for handholds or ledges using the thumbstick, which leads to more fluid climbing, ultimately making it feel a lot more realistic. There's quite a bit of focus on Nate's grappling hook, as it is utilized quite often during the game. It's a great tool and can also be used to initialize some awesome aerial attacks. They even look pretty cool thanks to the camera absolutely adoring the grappling hook, zooming in and out in all of the right times. Vehicles also seem to play a fairly big part in the game, more so than in previous installments. An example of this is the presence of some pretty big areas in the game which need to be traversed using a 4x4. Absolutely love these areas. They provided some incredible vistas when traveling over the terrain, but unfortunately do suffer from feeling a little empty sometimes. Another new feature to Uncharted 4 is the addition of more stealth-oriented sections. Instead of blasting your way through each and every enemy, Nate can now take enemies out stealthily or actually just avoid them completely. However, should you fail at the latter, getting spotted does not mean that the encounter has to end in a firefight. Nathan can retreat from enemies and if he is hidden long enough is able to lose them and actually revert back into stealth mode. It shows off an older and somewhat more reserved Nathan Drake, which I did quite like. Enemies also have this thing where they actually become smarter in terms of combat compared to previous installments, in that they can actually flank you, or if you're hanging from a ledge they'll actually stomp on your hands. It kind of encourages you to play around and actually keep moving during combat, and makes it just that much more enjoyable. What helps the gameplay tremendously also is how much better the companion characters are. If Nate is crouched down in long grass being stealthy, they will do the same and not enter enemy sidelines. When traversing ledges, they will allow Nate to climb over them. They've even become more helpful in combat, pulling off different finishing maneuvers if in close proximity to a fist fight. In addition, there are also moments where conversations can be initiated with the character and often discusses something related to a recent event or even sometimes to a particular memory. This is something very similar to the spontaneous conversations between Joel and Ellie that happen in The Last of Us. It's a great feature and really brings the characters to life. One thing about Uncharted 4 is the fact that it looks incredibly, just absolutely amazing and never seems to struggle with keeping it all going. Everything from the character models, the grand vistas, the use of lighting, it all looks incredible and runs so smoothly all of the time. Uncharted 4 is arguably the best looking console game I have played to date. In addition to the main game, Uncharted 4 also sees the return of its multiplayer component in the form of 5 vs 5 and 4 vs 4 combat. The multiplayer component itself is really enjoyable and like the main game, it runs very smoothly. There are 3 modes available: Team Deathmatch, Command, and Plunder. Team Deathmatch is quite a bit of fun, with the objective being to kill members of the opposing team, which is pretty standard. However, Command and Plunder are the 2 modes which is most likely to yield some of the most fun. Command is your domination-esque mode, but it truly encourages teamwork by tasking players to capture territories while also attempting to kill the captain of the opposing team. In other words, the strongest player. It does go both ways though, and you will also need to protect your own team's captain when playing the match. Plunder works very much like it has in previous Uncharted games, with the goal being to carry an idol to a point on the map before the other team does the same thing. Carrying an idol, which happens to also slow you down, with shots being fired all around you, can be quite exciting. Also, what makes the multiplayer even more enjoyable is the increase of verticality thanks to the grappling hook. This, coupled with excellent map design, makes for some frenetic gameplay. In addition, the game also features some supernatural power-ups which can disrupt an opposing team from gaining an upper hand. That and also air-controlled companions such as Sniper and Brutes can also be summoned this time to lend some assistance. It really makes the multiplayer that much more interesting. Uncharted 4 Thief's End is an incredible game and a fitting ending to the series and Nathan Drake's adventure as well. While it does suffer in some areas, it features a compelling story and solid gameplay, enjoyable multiplayer and some beautiful visuals. It truly does feel like the swan song that the series deserves.